Hello, good morning, and welcome to this 30-minute yoga sequence. This is the second in our hamstring series. So we're going to be doing 3 in total. So as I said in the first class, the hamstrings are the muscles that run down the back of the legs. So they connect either from the sit bones, from the lower back to the knee. And these can quite often get tight with most of the activities that we do day to day. So today when we're practicing, just be mindful for where you can stretch to or where you can reach. Listen to your body, making sure that you can feel the stretch, but not pushing it to the point where it is going to tear or pull your hamstring. So we're going to start today with our legs out in front. We're just going to bend through the knees, through the ankles. We're just going to start to get the blood circulating down the legs. If you like, you can gently massage, starting to become aware of any tightness, any sensations. You might already feel that the hamstrings are tight as you lean forward to massage the calves. And then we're going to slowly straighten through both legs. If your hamstrings are super tight, you can use a cushion. So you can place a cushion beneath the sit bones to elevate the hips, to make sure that the pelvis is tilting forward and that you're not rounding through the back or bowing through the lower back. You can also sit against a wall if you like to, but we want to sit up nice and straight, so flat back. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. And exhale, folding forward, reaching for the toes. So this is our first forward fold. If you find yourself here, that's perfectly okay. Just listening to your body, noticing how far you can go. We're going to use the breath for the next few counts to fold a little bit deeper. So you're going to slowly begin to walk the hands down the shins. Or if you're holding the toes, just walking the body a little bit closer, folding from the hips. You can drop the chin to the chest, trying to release any tension in the shoulders and in the upper back. Quite often when we feel pain or discomfort in the body, which can be represented by a forward fold if your hamstrings are really tight, we can draw our shoulders up to our ears and we can hold tension in the upper back. Taking a few deep breaths and allowing the shoulders to drop, allowing the head to hang forward. Two more breaths here. Each breath walking the hands a little bit further away. Feeling the body settle. And then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and down by your sides. We're going to place our hands behind our sit bones, so facing the fingertips away. We are going to press into our heels as we lift our hips up to the ceiling, dropping our head down the back. So reverse plank, squeezing the glutes. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, dropping the hips back down to the mat. Sitting up nice and tall. Deep breath in, inhaling the hands up, and exhale, folding forward. Taking 2 breaths here, reaching a little bit deeper. Starting to notice if there's anything that you're holding on to, any tension that you can feel in the body, and just allowing it to release. On the next in-breath, lifting the fingertips up to the ceiling. Exhale, placing them behind the sit bones. Inhale, pressing into the heels, lift the hips. Exhale, lowering the hips back down to the mat. Sitting up nice and tall. Inhaling the hands up. And exhale, placing the hands onto the toes or to the shins. Folding a little bit deeper. One more breath. And then inhaling the hands up. Exhale, placing them behind the sit bones. Inhaling, pressing into the heels, lift the hips. And exhale, lowering the hips back down to the mat. Sitting up tall. Inhaling the arms up one last time. And exhale, folding forward. Two more breaths here. Starting to notice if you can fold a little bit deeper. Starting to notice the body, the sensations. Noticing the tension in the upper back and the shoulders. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and down by your sides. You can gently bend through the knees, through the ankles, just releasing any tension that you can feel in the hamstrings here. You can also bend the knees, moving them side to side to release any tension through the hips. Taking some deep breaths, a nice shoulder roll. And then coming back to center. We're going to separate the feet, taking the legs out nice and wide. So going just inside as far as you can go, holding onto the knees, lifting up through the chest. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, we're going to fold forward, walking the hands out in front, drawing the toes back towards you, so pulling them back. Dropping the chin to the chest. Only going as far as you can go. This is another pose where you can sit on the pillow or on a prop to tilt you forward, deepening the stretch through the hamstrings, correcting the position of the pelvis. On your next in-breath, we're going to walk the fingertips over to the left leg. So you can either reach for the left toes or you can just hold on to the left leg, making sure that the right arm is coming across the body, reaching for the left leg as well. This will just help stretching down the lower back. You might find it pulling from the left hip up towards the spine. On your next out breath, walking the fingertips back to center. You can gently move the upper body left and right. And on the next inhale, walking the fingertips over to the right foot, taking the left arm across the body, reaching for the right leg. So if you need to, holding onto the shin or reaching for the toes. Keep drawing the left toes back towards you. And on the next out breath, walking the fingertips back to center and out a little bit further. And then slowly walking them back towards you, lifting up through the chest. We're going to bend through the left knee, placing the left foot at the base of the spine. We're going to inhale the hands up to the ceiling, turning to face the right leg, folding down the right leg, reaching for the right toes. So if you can't reach the toes, holding onto the shin, concentrating on the pelvis and folding from the hip, noticing where you can feel the stretch here. On the next in-breath, we're going to cartwheel the arms. First the left, followed by the right. Placing the left hand behind the sit bones, we're going to press up, coming onto our knee and our heel, and reach our right fingertips back. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, dropping the hips back down to the mat and cartwheeling the hands back towards the right toes or back towards the right leg. One breath here. And on the next in-breath, cartwheeling the arms. Left hand down, right hand up and over, lifting up the hips, coming onto the knee and heel. Deep breath in, and as we exhale, lowering the hips back down to the mat and cartwheeling the hands back to the right toes or to the right shin. Next in-breath, cartwheeling the arms. Last one, lift the hips, arching through the back. And exhale, lowering the hips down and reaching for the right toes. Taking 2 breaths here now, folding a little deeper with each exhale. On the next in-breath, lifting the hands up to the ceiling and down by your sides. Straightening through the left leg. You can bend and straighten through both, releasing any tension. And then straightening through both legs. Drawing the toes back towards you. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. And exhale, folding forward. Noticing your range of motion here. Noticing if it's increasing. Noticing where you can feel the stretch. Inhaling the hands back up to the ceiling and down by your sides. Taking your feet out nice and wide. Toes drawing back towards you. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward. Stretching here through the insides of the legs. Taking a breath, dropping the chin to the chest. On the next in-breath, walking the fingertips over towards the right leg or reaching for the right toes. Folding a little bit deeper as you exhale. And on the next in-breath, walking the fingertips back to center. Gently moving through the spine, left and right. And then on the next in-breath, walking the hands over to the left foot or to the left leg. On the next in-breath, slowly walking the hands back out in front and out a little bit further. Keep drawing the toes back towards you. Noticing where you can feel the stretch. And then slowly walking the hands back towards the body, lifting up through the chest, big shoulder roll. And now we're going to bend through the right knee, taking the right foot to the base of the spine, keeping the left leg extended. So lifting up through the chest here, we're going to inhale the hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding along the left leg, reaching for the left toes. So if you can't reach the toes, just holding on to the knee or the shin, making sure that the right arm's coming across the body. Taking a breath as you settle here. On the next in-breath, we're going to cartwheel the arms, first the right, then the left. We're going to press into the heel, lift the hips, arching through the back. Deep breath in. And exhale, lowering the hips down. Cartwheeling the arms back towards the left toes. Taking 2 breaths here. On the next in-breath, cartwheeling the arms, lift the hips, arching through the back, and exhale, lowering the hips back down to the mat, and cartwheeling the hands back towards the left leg. Feeling the body, feeling the movement, connecting the body to the breath. Again, next in-breath, cartwheeling the hands, lift the hips, arching through the back, decompressing the spine. And exhale, lowering the hips back down, cartwheeling the arms. Dropping the upper body a little bit lower towards the leg. One more breath here. And then inhaling the hands back up to the ceiling and down by your sides. Straightening through both legs. You can bend and straighten through the knees, through the ankles, just releasing any tension. Rolling the shoulders, moving the knees from side to side. And then we're going to tuck the feet to one side and come over into tabletop. So with tabletop, we want to make sure that the wrists are underneath the shoulders, shoulder width apart, knees underneath the hips, hip width apart, fingertips are spread nice and wide, and we've got a nice neutral back, head gazing down towards or in between the thumbs. We're going to move through cat-cow here to release any tension in the spine. So as we breathe in, we want to drop the belly, lifting up through the crown of the head. And exhale, belly button to the spine, tucking the tailbone, dropping the crown of the head down towards the mat. Inhale, dropping the belly. Exhale, belly button to the spine. Inhale, dropping the belly. Following your own breath here. Two more breaths. and then coming back to a neutral spine. We're going to tuck the toes and lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog, pressing the head between the arms. You can keep the knees slightly bent if the hamstrings are really tight, or you can straighten through both legs and try and sink down towards the heels. Taking a couple of deep breaths here and just exploring this pose. So you can bend and straighten alternate knees. You can drop both knees, hovering them above the mat, and then straighten through both, sinking down into the heels. You can just move from side to side, just exploring, stretching through the hamstrings, through the calves. And then coming back to center. We're going to take the right foot up towards the ceiling, bending through the right knee, stepping the right foot between the hands. So staying up onto the toes, we're going to inhale the hands up to the ceiling into a high lunge. Exhale, folding forward. Here we're going to hold and we're going to slowly straighten through the front leg. So only straighten as far as you can go until you can feel the hamstrings stretching through the front leg. Bending into the front knee, stepping the right foot back, reaching it up towards the ceiling, and then down to the mat, back to downward dog. Bending through the knees, sinking down into the heels. And then extending the left leg, reaching the left toes up to the ceiling, bending through the left knee, stepping the left foot between the hands. So bending forward, staying up on the right toes. We're going to inhale the hands up to the ceiling into a high lunge. And exhale, folding forward. Then slowly straightening through the left leg. Only going as far as you can go. Using the breath. And then bending into the left knee. Taking the left foot back up towards the ceiling. And down to the mat to downward dog. Sinking down into the heels. And then slowly lowering the knees down to the mat. We're going to drop down onto our elbows, keeping our hips above our knees and our elbows beneath our shoulders. We're going to gently rotate the wrists. And back in the opposite direction. And back to center, placing our hands onto the mat. We're going to slowly walk our hands out in front, dropping our chest, chin or forehead down to the mat, stretching through the shoulders. A few deep breaths here. And then slowly walking the elbows back beneath the shoulders, pressing up onto the hands into tabletop. We're now going to start to walk our knees apart. We're going to turn our feet out to face the left and right edges. And then we're going to slowly continue moving our knees out as far as we can go. You can also drop down to the elbows here as well. Feeling the stretch through the insides of the legs. Taking a couple of deep breaths. And then resting when you've reached as far as you can go. Taking a moment here to tap into your senses. Noticing your body's points of contact with the mat. Noticing what you can see, what you can smell and taste, what you can hear, and what you can feel. As the insides of the legs start to stretch, using the breath, you might be able to go out a little bit further. Noticing the breath in the body, the expansion and contraction of the chest. Two more breaths here. At the end of your second breath, slowly walking your hands out in front, we're going to tilt forward, resting on our bellies, drawing our knees and legs back together. We're going to stack our hands in front, placing our head on our hands, and you can gently move the hips from side to side, releasing any tension. And then allowing the body to rest here a moment. You can close your eyes. Noticing the stillness. Noticing if you can feel your heart beating in your chest. Noticing your breath. Gently moving the hips from side to side. And then back to center. You're going to bend through alternate knees, moving through the legs. And then placing both back down onto the mat. Lifting the head, placing the hands beneath the shoulders. We're going to press back up into tabletop. You can either tuck the feet to one side or you can cross the ankles, coming back to a seated position. So as you sit, lifting up through the chest, hands can rest on the knees, rolling the shoulders up to the ears and down the back. Just releasing any tension through the shoulders, through the body. And then allowing the body to rest. On the next in-breath, raising the arms up and over the head, placing the palms together and lowering them down to the heart center. Feeling the connection between the left and right side of the body, the feminine and the masculine, the light and the dark. Acknowledging both of these sides. Thank you for joining me on the mat this morning. Namaste.